What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So a lot of my tutorials are very focused on one thing, like just teaching a specific concept so you can put that tool in your toolbox. But I want to mix in more real world or like practical tutorials where we build something that would exist in the real world. And in doing this, we can actually bake a lot of like mini lessons and best practices into one single video. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be building a pricing section in Oxygen. And this pricing section, let's go ahead and we'll just take a look at it inside of Figma here. This isn't designed in Figma, by the way. It's just I found one online that I liked, that I thought that would be good for this tutorial. I screenshotted it. I threw it into Figma just so I can flip back and forth very easily to reference it. But this is it right here. So it's a dark, kind of like a dark mode style modern pricing table. It does have a toggle switch for monthly versus annual pricing. So we're going to have to work through that together. I don't use these toggle switches very often. There is a default toggle switch element inside of Oxygen if you have the higher version. So that's what we're going to be using for that. Or you could even use tabs for something like this. And then if you look at the pricing cards here, I like the fact that it has like included versus excluded features that we're going to have to handle as well. So there's going to be some troubleshooting in here. There's going to be, I just think, a lot of really great mini lessons, whether you are a beginner, whether you are intermediate at Oxygen. I wouldn't say that this is an advanced tutorial by any means. So if you are an advanced person, you're probably, this is going to be easy for you. Obviously, still following along, you can pick up nuggets. I learn from other people all the time, even when they're not doing advanced things. So it's good for everybody, I feel like. But this is what we're going to build. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm going to need is a section. It's going to have that like charcoal gray background. And then I'm going to have a div in that section that's going to be the dark background. That's going to have a little padding inside of it. We're going to use grid for these two pricing cards to put them side by side and create that little gap between them. And then we'll just throw in all the other content, and you'll see how this comes together. So let's dive in. I've got a page already set up for us. I'm going to hit add and I'm going to hit section. And we're going to put a background color of this, what's it called? Dark alternative on there. Don't want to do that. Obviously, sections in Oxygen have default padding inside of them already. So we're good to go there. I can add a div. I'm going to call this pricing price section, pricing wrapper, something like that. Let me go back to Figma. So this is like the wrapper for all of the pricing area. I might even say pricing area. I don't know. Like it's kind of an art and a science, right? Oh, I'm writing the word art. I can't talk and write at the same time. We'll do pricing wrapper. Just like that. And then I'm going to do a background color of this like ultra dark one. It's not completely black. In fact, it almost seems like it has a tiny bit of purple in it, but it's going to do for what we've got going on. All right, so I'm going to put a width of 100% on here. The one thing I will say about this card that I don't like is it feels a little squished to me. It can be a little bit wider, and we're going to make ours a little bit wider. But I'm not going to make it the entire width, I don't think. We'll see. Like right now, that's full width. If you look at my site settings, we go to settings and global, and we go to width and breakpoints. So I have my inner content set to 1280 pixels. So if you're kind of following along with the tutorial and you want to look exactly the same, that's what you're going to need to set yours to. All right, we'll go back to the structure panel here. So I've called this pricing wrapper. Now my pricing wrapper is going to need some padding inside of it. That's number one. It's also going to need rounded corners. And I would say that those are kind of like almost 1 em, maybe 0.75 em, something along there. So we'll go to border radius, 0.75 em. I think that matches pretty good. And then we'll tackle padding. Now for padding, I love to use clamp. So you've probably seen this before. So on desktop, we can have a little bit more padding than we do on mobile without having to adjust at any breakpoints. So I'm going to go 2.8 padding on the mobile, and we'll do, actually, this was already set up from a different probably card I was doing. So we'll just steal that. I think 4 rem on the desktop and 2.8 at the smallest size is going to be just fine. So padding, I'm going to set to none. I'm going to put the clamp function in and apply all. And now when I add a heading, which is what we need, if you look here, we need this track for free forever. I'm going to go ahead and add that. It's going to be an H2, and then I'm going to say track for free forever, just like that. Now, on this main wrapper, our pricing wrapper, if you notice, everything in there is light colored. So I can just go ahead and change the text color on this pricing wrapper to a light color, and it should take care of the base for all of our text, all right? And then we're going to handle this lighter text a little bit differently. All right, so I'm going to go to advanced typography, color, and we'll just choose this white color. So you see I'm on the wrapper, but now everything in there will be white. And I'm going to center everything as well. So primary, we're going to go vertical, center. And then I'm going to go ahead and save, and we're going to take a look at this on the front end. We'll just flip back and forth between the front end. All right, so we've got our little pricing card area. I actually think this width is going to work out just fine. It might be slightly too large, but we'll tackle that when we get there. All right, let's go ahead and put in this text right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my heading. I'm going to add a text element. Perfect. And we're going to, I have to type all that out. What does it say? For all casual users, we offer a free plan with awesome features. But if you consider yourself a hardcore tracker, we got your back with a pro plan. Okay. So choose between our free and pro plan below. I'm just going to summarize and write something completely different. Choose between our free and pro plan below. We also have annual pricing options if you'd like to save some money. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to put a max width utility class on this. If you notice, that's like one long little line. I don't like, long stretchy lines like that. And if you see in our design, it's not a long stretchy line, it breaks, right? So we need that to break. And the best way to do that is with my max width utility classes. I did a tutorial on max width utility classes. If you want to go watch that, you can also steal my max width utility classes. Okay, I said I wasn't going to use Oxy Ninja utility classes for this. So what I'm going to do is, this is pricing wrapper. So we're going to go pricing wrapper heading. I'm just going to give that a class. Pricing wrapper intro text, give that a class. Then our pricing wrapper heading, we can go to margin bottom and we'll try 3, 2. Yeah, we'll do 2. The text looks good. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is add our toggle. So I'm going to go to add, and under helpers, you're going to look for this switcher element. And what that's going to do is it's going to load a bunch of stuff, right? If we go over here in the structure panel and take a look, you have this switcher, which we're going to actually rename to pricing. And then I'm going to open that up, and we have switcher code. We have the toggle row, which is the actual toggle button. We have switcher content 1 and switcher content 2. These are the two content divs that switch back and forth. Now, this is a little bit quirky how this is done, because what the switcher does is it like adds and removes a class. And based on adding or removing that class, it determines whether that div is hidden or visible. And unfortunately, because of that, we can't just style these divs that are inside. We actually need divs inside those divs. And you can see that that's what they do by default, is they put a columns element inside with this like weird pricing grid thing that doesn't look good at all. I'm going to delete that column, and I'm going to delete that column, and that's going to leave me with 2 empty containers for which to put my own pricing grids in. And what I was basically getting at was, I'm going to use grid because we need our cards to be side by side, right? And we need a gap between them and all that good stuff. Best use case for that is grid. And I can't style this actual container because it's going to mess with the display, and it's just going to screw up your toggle. So if you run into trying to change the display of this div that they give you by default inside the toggle switch, and it's breaking your toggle, just know that you need to put a div inside that div, and then you can do whatever you want with that div. But don't try to use their actual wrapper div that they gave you. It's very prone to breaking things. So I'm going to first select this. I need some spacing here. So we're going to do 4 rem on the bottom of that. I'm going to grab my toggle row. We're going to put a class on that. So that's pricing wrapper double underscore toggle. And then what we're going to do is, like I said, inside of these content divs, we're going to add another div. Okay, so I'm going to hit add. Thank you. Add div. Add it. Thank you. Okay. And this is going to be pricing wrapper double underscore content. And yes, I think pricing wrapper. Yeah. We'll do toggle content. Okay. Perfect. And then I also want to do a monthly class versus a yearly class. That's going to kind of future-proof this a little bit. It's going to give us more flexibility. So pricing wrapper double underscore toggle content double dash monthly. And then on the one below, we'll do double dash yearly. In fact, I can copy this with, or actually I'll just duplicate it. I'll try not to use, as much stuff that you might not have by default as possible. So I'm going to take the monthly off of here, and we're going to add the yearly. So toggle wrapper double underscore content toggle. Oh, geez, dude, I'm all messed up. Okay, pricing wrapper double underscore toggle content yearly. Okay, good. All right. This is probably a good time to talk about why I'm naming the classes the way that I'm naming them. You see this like first thing that looks like a real class, then there's these double underscores, then there's these double dashes, right? So this is just BEM. It stands for block element modifier. It's a naming convention for CSS classes that helps you keep everything super organized. And that way, anybody that comes behind you, like they know exactly what's going on here. They know that toggle content is a element of pricing wrapper, which is the block. So we have block element modifier, right? So the block is the pricing wrapper. Then toggle content is a element inside of that. And then the double dash is a modifier, which means we're making that thing maybe look different or have different properties versus some other version of it. So that's kind of how that works, just to explain that. All right, so this right here, I'm just going to throw a, this is going to be our wrapper that creates our grid, right? So I'm going to call this pricing wrapper double underscore toggle inner. Okay. And we're going to go with 100% width on that. And we're going to go with display grid, column count 2. And we're going to do a gap of 3 rem. And we're going to do a gap here of 3 rem. That's the row gap, which we're not actually going to need, except on mobile. But because Oxygen's grid builder is a little bit quirky, you actually have to reset that even if, when we do the next breakpoint down. But that's enough to get us going with that. So I'm going to add a div. And this is going to actually be our pricing card. You can see it right there. And so I'm going to just call this pricing card. And then I'm going to duplicate it. So we do have 2 pricing cards. And then I'm just going to, just so we can see what we've got on the front end so far, I'm going to add text here. And we'll say pricing card 1. And then we will duplicate that and drag that over here. And we're going to call this pricing card 2. Okay, let's take a look on the front end and see what we've got. So we have 2 pricing cards and we have a switch. And the switch goes to blank because if you look at our builder, we don't have anything in the second one. But it's functioning, right? And you guys can't read the labels yet. But we have a functioning toggle, which is great. And we have 2 pricing cards in a grid, which is also great. All right, so let's keep moving along. What we need to do next is we need to build out the structure of this card. And if you look at this card, it has a top, it has a middle, and it has a bottom. That's how I see it. I see it as 3 divs. Now, I wouldn't always do that. You could definitely do it without putting divs inside this card. However, it has these little line breaks between them. And I know that if I just create sections, it's going to be easy to use border to put those little line breaks in there. Not line breaks, like horizontal rules, but I don't want a horizontal rule element just floating around in there. I just want a top, a middle, and a bottom. And then on the middle section, I can actually just put a border top and bottom and call it a day. And we should be done with that. All right, so let's do that. Let's also see what color these things are. So they're actually the same color as the background. All right, so pricing card, here we go. Background color is this. Yes, okay. No, this actually does not get the pricing card. I am on totally the wrong thing. This is the pricing card right here. And that does get that background color. Excellent. Now, we're going to also add padding to this. And that, I would say, friends, is like 2.4 rem, somewhere in there. So not width. We're going to go to size and spacing, padding, rem, 2.4, apply all. Apply all. Thank you. All right, that gets us pretty close there. I can go ahead and remove these text elements now. And I'm going to go ahead and make my 3 sections. So we're going to say div, add a div, thank you, and duplicate and duplicate. And there it is. There's our 3 sections right there. So this is the top, right? So we're going to do pricing card, double underscore top. This is the middle. We're going to do pricing card, double underscore middle. And then we're going to do bottom. Pricing, oh, getting a little laggy here. Yeah, very laggy here. Pricing card, double underscore bottom. Perfect. All right, now and then I'll do pricing card section as well on all of those. Pricing card, double underscore section. And I actually should have done section top, section middle, section bottom, but you know, nobody's perfect. Pricing card, double underscore section, pricing card, and I'm going to explain why I'm doing this in just a second. Okay, so now they all have the section class, but they all have their own unique class as well. What that allows me to do is, what if I want to control the padding globally in all sections? I add it to the pricing card section class. But what if I want to do something on the bottom different from the top? Then I use the bottom class or the top class or the middle class or whatever. So I can keep those things separate, but also control them in some ways globally. That's a good use case for stacking classes like that on top of each other. Okay, so for example, I'm going to do pricing card section, and I'm going to set the width to 100%, and they're all going to go to 100%. See? So I'm controlling them all globally, but I also have the ability to control them individually as well, which I'm going to do right now, which is on the middle section. So I'm going to do pricing card middle. We're going to go to borders, and I'm going to go to the top border, and we're going to do 1 pixel solid, and we're going to choose this light gray right there. And then I'm going to do bottom, and we're going to choose that same light gray. We're going to do 1 pixel, and we're going to do solid. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw text in there just so we can see what's going on. And if we look at our Figma again, we see that the padding between the top and the bottom there, and the padding between the top and the bottom there, and the padding between the top and bottom there is all pretty much exactly the same. So we are going to go back. I'm going to go to my pricing card section, which controls all of them. And top and bottom padding is going to get rem, and that's going to be like, let's try 2 and see how that goes. 2, 2. And I think that might get the job done. We're going to hit save, and I'm going to refresh. See what we got. There you go. Now that line is a little bit light. So I'm going to go back to border here. We're going to choose the top, and we're going to change this to, see, it was this one is the color of the card, so we can't do that. I wonder what it'd be like to do a dark. Let's just look at that real quick. That actually might work. I don't know. Let's not do that. Let's do that, and then changing the, let's do like 70%. I wonder if that's actually going to show up. No, not at all. What we need to do probably is white, and then we need to take that all the way down to like 5 or something like that. Let's see how that looks. That's much better. I don't even know if you guys can see that, but honestly, you can barely freaking see it on the one we're doing. So it is there though. I'll bump it up just a little bit. We won't completely crush the contrast ratio rules. Okay, save. So that's a 10%. Okay, that just broke it. Let's do it again. White, take it down to 10%. Save. Refresh. That's much better. Okay, that's what we're going to go with. So I'm just going to copy that and go to the bottom, take that out, put that in, save. Boom. Okay, we're good to go. All right, now we're going to tackle this top section. So the top is going to have free, $0, and then this little text. That should be nice and easy. So probably the best way to do this, if we take a look at it, it is complicated by the fact that the price number is to the right of this, and then we need this all on its own line, which tells me that this is I'm gonna put another div in for these two things, and then this will be right below it. Okay, we're trying to cut down on the number of divs needed, but you know, sometimes you need divs, right? So this is going to be pricing card top dash inner. Okay, and width on this is going to be 100% as well. We're going to set the flex to horizontal if we're allowed to. Set it to middle, and we're also going to do space between. Okay, and then we're going to put a heading in there. This is going to be an H4, and this is going to say free, I think. Is that what it says? Just says free? Yeah, free, and then $0. All right, cool. So that definitely needs its own class. So pricing card, and we can just call this heading. You don't have to put it in the top and all that. You don't have to do like Inception with your classes. I mean, the pricing card only has one heading, so this is the pricing card heading. All right, great. And then we're going to add a text element, not a text link. Nope. We just want text. Thank you. Text. Cool. This is going to be $0, and we're going to call this pricing card _ price. Great. All right, and if we look at the design there, that's definitely going to need to be bigger, and then it's going to need to be this lighter gray color. So font size on this, we're going to go with rim 4, 3. 3 looks good. And then as for text color, we can just use this. There's already this kind of like light gray in there. Let me just check all of our options here. That one actually is, that one's pretty close. Like if we look in, it's definitely lighter than that. Let's just rock and roll with this one for now. That looks fine. It's not white, you know, like the heading is, so does its job. Now, we do need to protect these two things from ever bumping into each other. Right now, they're forced apart because of this space between on the flex, but if they ever were to come together, they would do that, and that would be a big problem, right? So one way that we can just protect this is we can have a margin. I don't think these are ever going to stack on top of each other. Like if we look at the smallest breakpoint, even at the smallest breakpoint, these things are not anywhere close to touching. But just to be safe, I'm going to put a margin of 2 rem on the left-hand side of that price. So if it ever was to try to meet with the heading on the left-hand side, there would still be a gap. All right, so that works well. I can even do 3 rem on that probably and get away with that. What we do need is, if you see my heading is going to scale down on mobile because it uses clamp. I didn't put clamp on the price though, so that's not scaling down. So we're going to need to fix that. All right, so I'm going to go to fluid response. Actually, I can just steal. I'm going to go to settings, and we're going to go to headings, and we're going to go to H4, steal the clamp that's on there, and then use that as the font size here. Perfect. And now that will actually perfectly match that heading size, and it'll scale with it all the way down as well. Perfect. Okay, now below that div, I need text. I don't need ext, I need text. It will not let me type T. Thank you. Okay, text. This is going to be called pricing card _ description. So you see all these elements we're giving names to, but the naming convention keeps them all together, keeps them all nice and organized. All right, so this one needs to say essential features to help you track your expenses. All right, so essential features, that doesn't need to be capitalized, to help you track your expenses, period. And then if you see that is actually broken to 2 lines, we're going to make those determinations as we go, see what needs to happen there. But I think for now we're good. One thing I'm looking at here, pricing, card section, spacing. Okay. So yeah, the top and the bottom. All right. So on our actual outer pricing card, I don't think we need top and bottom spacing because our inners are taking care of it. We'll see how that plays out as we continue to design the card. The other thing we're going to need, I'm going to go back to the structure panel. I believe these are rounded. Yeah, like 0.5 M, somewhere in there, looks like. So I'm going to choose my whole pricing card wrapper, and I'm going to go to border, and I'm going to go to M, and we're going to go to 0.5, and that's going to round our cards. Let's hit save. I'm going to throw a button down here real quick just to check our spacing. So now we have something in the top, we have something in the middle, we have something in the bottom. We can better determine what our spacing is looking like. Okay, perfect. So yeah, we're missing a little bit of padding as compared to this. So let's go ahead and take a look at our outside card. Size and spacing. So we have 2.4 rim on the outside. We're going to change that to 3. And then I think on here, we're actually pretty good on here. We're going to do 2.4 and 2.4 and save. Now we're better. I think we're looking more like what we've got going on here. Okay. Now what we need to do is change our color here. So actually what we can do is on our pricing card, let's go to typography and let's choose that lighter color that we were using. That's way too light. Yeah, too light there. We'll just do this one. And then on the heading, we can actually change it to white. Instead of changing all the other text, because if you look at the card, it's all the same color except for the heading. The heading is designed to stand out a little bit. And I may even come through and I will probably choose a color that's not quite as bright as that because it's not creating the same kind of contrast effect. We'll get there. All right, next let's do our button. So that's like kind of a purpley blue. Download now and try now for free. So we're going to call this download now. And we're going to change this button color. We need to give this a class. So this is going to be pricing card _button. And button color, we're going to go with, what did I say, a purpley blue. Need more purple in there. Okay, let me look at this again. It's definitely lighter. I'm not the king of colors here, but we're going to get it done. All right, we're going to do borders. I think it still needs to be lighter, but let's do border radius. We're going to do 0.5 M. See how that works. And then we are going to go to typography and line height set to 1.1. And then we're going to do the rest with spacing. And I'm going to use M's for these so that the padding actually, in small elements like this, I want the padding to kind of scale as the text scales. So M is a really good way to do that. 2 and 2. Okay, perfect. Definitely getting a lot of lag here. Let me play this color just a little bit more so we can see if we can get it a little bit closer to what we're trying to mimic here. Okay, I think that works. All right, let's take a look at it from the outside. Let's also stretch it all the way across. So we're going to go to size and spacing. Width is going to be 100%. And then there we go. So that's done. I think the text size is okay. But what I'm going to show you is typography. If I use this little calculator, we can take that text down to 1.4, but start it at like 1.8. Or maybe 1.6 would be better. I'm going to grab the clamp function, and I'm going to put that in here. So font size is none. Throw the clamp in. There we go. And that'll actually scale down now as we go, because we are going to have, you know, their pricing cards. There's not a lot of space to work with. While we're here too, why don't we make our grid responsive? So if I go to 992, that's clearly, that still actually might work. It might be a little squishy. I don't know. I think that's going to be a little too squishy. So let's go grid. Let's change it to 1 there. And we got to go back and set, you know, reset our gaps because it overrides the gaps. Okay. But that works. Okay. So now we're not dealing with a card flying off the screen like we were a second ago. All right. So that's good there. I think all that looks fantastic. Okay. Next, what we have to tackle is we have to tackle our little list here. This is the fun part. So we need these items, and we need them to have check marks or X's. First thing I want to do is I want to go to the noun content, or the noun project.com. This is where I get all my icons from. You do need a paid account, unfortunately. So I'm going to log in, and I'm going to go here. Cool. We need a check mark icon. You'll see why I like the noun project in just a second. So this looks like the actual, like very close, right? With the check coming out of the circle. So we're going to grab that one for sure. And we're just going to make it white. And then I'm going to download the SVG version. And we're going to call this checkmark white. And then I'm going to grab an X. And if we look at our Figma, you can like barely see it. It's an X inside of a circle. Kind of a thicker circle though. So something along the lines of, and there's definitely like padding, kind of like this. It's this one right here. This will be good. All right, so we're going to do this, and we'll do X white. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to call this. This is our. We are just going to use a text box for this. It's going to be super easy. So I just click text, and then we're going to do pricing card __ feature. This is another one where we're going to layer the classes. It's going to get 2 different classes: a feature class that's going to give us global control, and then it's going to give us a modifier class. So we have pricing card feature, pricing card __ feature _, and then this is going to be included. And I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to duplicate this. Actually, I don't need to copy it. Yeah, I do. Paste. Now I can do excluded on this one. Perfect. Okay. So I have pricing card included versus pricing card excluded. Then I have pricing card feature included, pricing card feature excluded. Pricing card feature gives us the global control. All right. So on the pricing card feature that gives us the global control, this is how we space them out. All right. So I'm going to do margin bottom of, and then maybe even margin top. So we'll do top and bottom. I'm not sure yet. Maybe we'll just do, if we do top and bottom, we don't necessarily need to isolate the last one and remove our padding. We could also just do all top as well, except not on the first one. There's a bunch of ways to do this. I'm just going to do one rem for now. Let's see how much they're spaced out there. It's not a lot. Probably need to grab this as well and use this for our font size, because it is a little bit smaller text, I think. Let's just see if this changes at all. I don't know what our default font size is, honestly. Okay, yeah, that's good. Okay. And see how I'm controlling that globally because I'm on pricing card feature. But then when I go to included, that's how I'm going to determine, which we're going to do right now, the check mark versus the X. All right, so pricing card feature included, that's what we're on right now. We're going to do a before on this. And then we are going to do size and spacing. Let's try rem 3, height rem 3. And let's try background image. And we're just going to throw in these icons. So I'm going to go to downloads, grab my 2 icons, throw them in. So here's the X. And let's select the image. And then let's go to manual. And go to, actually, let's do just contain. Let's try that to start off with. So we've got sizing, and then we go to layout, and let's do flex. We can probably do, yeah, flex, row. Actually, let's do inline flex. And then on the original, we can do flex and then do row and then do center. Okay. Next, what we need to do is go back to the before, and we're going to put a margin. So this is the before is the icon. So we're going to put a margin on the right of 1 rem, and that's going to give us our spacing there. Okay. So now anytime I put the feature included class on something, it's going to have, oh, well, it should not have the X. Let's fix that. Like, I'm dyslexic, by the way, if you guys haven't known yet. So I often do things backwards if I'm not like really focused. Okay, so yeah, I was thinking included in my mind, but chose the X. It happens to me all the time. All right, so that looks good. And then what I'm going to do now is, watch this. I'm going to do included on this. And then I'm going to copy the included to the excluded. I'm going to delete the included. I'm going to go to the excluded. I'm going to go to the before, which is the icon, and I'm just going to change the icon. But it copied over all my other settings. So I'm going to browse, and I'm going to choose the X. Good. So now we have a check and we have an X, but we do have to troubleshoot this because they're different sized icons, even though I set the size. I think I can do cover maybe, and I don't know if that's going to work because it's looking to me like one of them has like maybe some padding around it where the other one doesn't. So it's probably good for clients to watch too. The kind of stuff that you have to troubleshoot that they wouldn't expect that you have to troubleshoot, that you got to spend time fixing. It's just, yeah, it's a lot. Okay, pricing card feature included. Okay, what was I doing there? Nothing. All right, before, cover, contain, manual, rem. I don't know that that's actually going to fix this. Background, manual, 3 and 3. Yeah, one's still clearly bigger than the other. I can somewhat fix this by just, I mean, this is really like, it just feels like the excluded one is bigger. Just feels like a really chintzy way to do this, but we do want to set these to no repeat. So I can just kind of like eyeball it almost, right? Let me go to the before on this, advanced background, and then we'll go also no repeat on this. And yeah, the other way that you can do this is just changing well, yeah, that probably wouldn't be a good way to do it either. So the X is still looking bigger. So I'm going to go to background. We'll just keep adjusting this. So 2.6 maybe. And then the problem with it is, okay, I think what we can do, left 50%, yeah, and then top 50%. Let's just center all of that since we're changing its size. We're actually getting there. I just want all these settings to be the same. So left 50%, top 50%. We're almost there. We're going to go to before, go to background, 2.5. 2.5. It's like subtle adjustment at this point. Okay. Is almost exact. It's almost exact. Now what I'm going to do is, if you look at our Figma, that is dim, right? So I'm going to go to the before, background. Let's see what the best way to do this is. Probably affects opacity. And do a 0.4, something like that, 0.3. I think 0.3 works. Okay, so now I've got my included and my excluded features ready to go. So we're going to do simple tracking, detailed statistics, smart reminders, simple tracking, detailed statistics, and then actually it all needs to be in those. This is going to be detailed statistics. And then smart reminders. And what else we got? Smart reminders is not included. And then export to CSV and dark theme. Okay. So we'll just delete this, keep that nice and simple. Okay. Detailed statistics, smart reminders, export to CSV, duplicate, export to .csv, and dark mode. Okay. And what I'd also like to do is, actually, I'm going to take off. So on the before where we put that, I'm going to clear that effect, and I'm just going to put the effect on the entire thing. I don't think it makes sense to like dim the icon, but not dim the text. So people like can read the text, but can't really see the icon as well. It should like clearly show the entire row is dim so that it's not included. That's how I would do it. So I'm going to override the designer on this one. So opacity, we're going to go to 0.3. And we are going to, is that our feature? Hold on. Oh, we're still on the before. We need to go to the entire row, Kevin. All right, 0.3. There we go. Now we're dim. So now you can clearly see the distinction of what's included versus what's not included. I think that's the best way to do it. All right, so remember this is a pricing card feature, and they all had a margin top. So we need to do add state, first of type, and then margin top is going to be 0. And that's going to take it off of the very first one. That's all you have to do that kind of thing. All right, let's save and look what we got on the front end. We're actually getting closer because now we're just going to be able to duplicate stuff. Like we built the framework. We just got to duplicate stuff and change the text and all that. Yeah, like we're like so close, guys. We're so close on this. All right, so I do think I want this to break regardless of the fact that it has room. I'm going to see if any of my classes get it done. 320 doesn't quite do it. So I'm going to go to description, size and spacing, max width, rim, and we're going to do like one. Ooh, that's terrible. 220, 320, 300. That's better. We'll do 300. We also want to make sure that all of our text inside of this top section is left, and then everything in here is left, and then the button's fine by itself. Okay, so save. Let's go take a look on the front end. Now it breaks to a second line. It just really helps break things up in the design. I think this could stand to be, this entire card could stand to be just a little bit. This is where we can throw one of those max widths on there. 960. That's going to get us more. Yeah, that's a little too much. That's going to get us more towards what the actual design looked like. So I'm going to do rim on this. So remember, 1280 is our default. So that would be 128. I'm going to go with 110 maybe. 112. Let's do that. And then in this entire wrapper, we can set this to center. Okay. So it's a little tiny bit skinnier. That looks good. All right, so we've got that going. Let's go ahead and fix so that we can actually read these. So this is Oxel Switcher Active Toggle. Okay. Let's see how this is set up. Toggle row. I bet you what we can do is get away with just putting this on here. Nope, we can't. Okay, no problem. Label. Okay. Oh, because the color's set on the actual label. All right, we'll do that. Save. So now that looks better. You can read it. If you look at our Figma, though, we need the button to be the purple color that we have down here. So I'm going to grab that color, and we're going to click on the toggle itself, and pricing wrapper. Here, we'll do this Oxy toggle. It's got a color set. We'll get rid of that and throw that on. Pretty easy, honestly, right? There you go. All right. So we have free. Now we need to delete this card, and we can literally just duplicate this card. And then this one is going to be, what is this? Pro, and that's $2.99. So this is going to say Pro. This is going to say $2.99. And then what do we got for text here? Advanced features for those who want more control. Advanced features for those who want more control. Perfect. And let's go ahead and take care of our options here. So simple tracking, detailed statistics, smart reminders, export to CSV. Okay, that's perfect use case. They all say the same thing. So all I have to do is remove the excluded and add the included class. So included and remove the excluded. Add the included and remove the excluded. There we go. So the X's change to check marks, and they all get to be nice and bright. So now we're going to save, and boom, perfect. So now all we have to do is create the yearly. So what I'm going to do is grab this entire wrapper that's in here. You see how fast stuff comes together after you've already done the basic framework? I'm going to paste that in. Remember, this is going to get we're going to not have the monthly on there, though. We're going to have the yearly. All right. And then free is going to be free, but pro is going to be, so 36. Let's do like, I don't know, $29. Let's do $2.99 times. They usually do it like, yeah, $29.90. We'll say we'll keep it flat at 29. So really, that's all that changes, right? So I'm going to hit save, and I switch. Boom! Look at that. Pro is $29, and then all you would have. Oh, we have changed the button text. So try now for free. I'm gonna call it choose this one. So or sign up, or I'll do subscribe to pro, and then on this one I'll say subscribe and save. So the button text will change effectively too when the price changes. So we'll save, see how that works. There you go, subscribe and save. And then you would have two separate links. That's another reason why you want to not just change the price dynamically with the toggle, because other things are going to change as well. Like this could change. You might even want to add a bonus feature, right? Like what if we did that? So if I duplicate this, and I'll say, hey, if you're a pro member on the annual plan, you get personalized support. Okay, we'll hit save. And then I can even grab this excluded one, pop that in there, and say personalized support. Let's not capitalize the S. Okay. And then here we can throw that in, and we can throw, oops, nope. Let's copy this one. Let's delete that one. Okay, toss that in, toss that in. Perfect. So now with the yearly, see here you get everything, but you don't get personalized support. But if you, we need this to say monthly and this to say yearly. So we toggle that. Now you get the personalized support, subscribe and save, and the price changes. All right. All we have to do here is make this say monthly and make this say yearly. Okay, hit save. Now let's take a look at how we're doing from a mobile responsive standpoint. So we're going to come in and look in here. This all looks good. That's a nice break. Nice break here. Though we're getting, there's some sort of default padding in this switcher content. And it needs to be in the switcher content active. Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of padding in there. All right, let's go to all devices and let's go to 0 on all devices. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That was definitely affecting things as well. How do we look now? Yeah. Okay. Now we actually have this, the spacing is starting to match all around. I think that's looking pretty good. Now we can actually stand, because that's not going to be so squishy. We can actually make this a little bit more. So we'll just do 100 rem, sorry. So it's basically 1,000 pixels. Save. Perfect. Look at that, guys. I think it's pretty much done here. So we've done a great job. We look, if we go down now and look at all breakpoints, toggle's still going to work there. Okay. And down at the very, very last breakpoint, Still looking good. Nothing squished together. These could stand to have a little bit more spacing between them. So, let's just grab this wrapper. It's got the top inner on it, size and spacing. Rim, let's go with let's just try 1. Save. I actually don't want to add that there, though. It's a terrible place to add it. Why don't we just make it 1 from the top? And now we're done. Now I'm going to say we're done. Okay, let's go ahead and boom, boom, boom. Looks good. Toggle. Looks good. We're good to go. All right, so let me go back to camera here. All right, yeah. That's it, guys, for the tutorial today. If you have questions, drop them in the comments below. I try to read and respond to every single question. Hit like, hit thumbs up, hit subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll be back very soon. I'm doing a lot of work inside the inner circle, releasing some really detailed tutorials. Just did a 90-minute tutorial on adding a dynamic health condition section to a real client website. We did custom post types. We did filtering facets on a conditions grid. We did a lot of really cool stuff. So they're learning a lot in the inner circle. I'm trying to keep up with the once a week posting schedule here on the YouTube channel, because I don't want to forget you guys. Even if you're not in the inner circle, I want you to learn things. I want you to benefit. I want you to be able to grow in your oxygen skills. I want you to be able to grow in your agency skills. But if you are interested in going deeper, Inner Circle is the place to be. And you can check out a link in the description for that. All right, I'm out. Peace.